Welcome back. In this lesson, we'll discuss the differences between traditional IT and cloud computing. In the traditional model, we have different types of servers for hosting our data and our applications. We also have a network layer made up of routers, switches, and firewalls, which protects and connects all of our systems together. All of this equipment lives in either a data center or an IT closet, and it requires physical security, power, cooling, licenses, and maintenance, which all cost money. The equipment needs to be purchased by the company, so this is considered a capital expense, or CapEx. The IT equipment has to be operated and maintained by IT people, like yourself. We have separate teams for separate functions, usually composed of server admins, network engineers, and the operations team. These roles may fluctuate from company to company, but the idea is the same. So, this means your company has a huge CapEx and then an operational expense, or OpEx, for the resources that need to maintain the equipment. As you can see, these expenses start adding up quite quickly. We have data center building, the IT hardware, the licensing cost, the maintenance cost and contracts, power, staff wages, so on and so on. And all of these cost money. So, how's the cloud different? Well, one notable difference is that in the cloud we have on-demand resources, which don't require human intervention to deploy. We also have rapid elasticity and scalability, which allows you to acquire and dispose of equipment rapidly. This also means we can scale based on demand. Can you imagine deleting a physical server? Well, neither can I, but in the cloud, this is all possible. We also have multi-tenancy. This is just a fancy term for saying we can have multiple customers running on the same rack of physical servers, each with their own privacy and security in place. Think of it like a hotel or apartment complex. For resource pooling, the cloud provider leverages the amount of resources they have and offer it to their customers as a service. It's like Netflix or for servers. You don't actually own any of the content on Netflix, but they offer it to you for a certain price based on a monthly basis. With the broad network access, we can deploy these servers anywhere we have access to the internet. We can deploy important workloads for your company from the comfort of your pajamas. And boy, do I love being in my PJs. For your customers in Australia, you can deploy resources in their country, and all you need is the internet. Measured services, well, this is basically defines it as a pay-as-you-go model with no long-term contracts. Well, there are some long-term contracts, but we'll talk about those later in the course. Let's talk about the key advantages. Like mentioned before, in the cloud, we trade CapEx for OpEx, so we gain more operational expenses, but we significantly decrease our capital expenses. We pay for on-demand resources and don't own any physical hardware. This is a key advantage because we don't own the hardware failures. AWS does. We'll talk more about this in the shared responsibility model video in this course. We also stop guessing about capacity. This means that we can provision the exact size and type of computing resources we need for our application and services to work. In the cloud, we gain speed and agility by reducing the time to deployment. We do this by cutting down time on acquiring resources, planning, and the architecture of the cloud. AWS provides many documents on best practices and common deployment types to aid you in the planning stage. They have been doing this for a while, and so they have learned a thing or two. Let's wrap up this video by comparing the traditional model with the cloud computing model. As we have seen, the traditional model uses a CapEx model. It's harder to scale. You get some wasted resources. It requires a lot of physical maintenance and usually requires more of your IT staff to maintain, both from the software perspective as well as the hardware side of things. With the cloud computing model, we trade CapEx for OpEx. We get on-demand and self-service of resource deployment. We get the benefit of economies of scale. We stop guessing about the capacity and get the benefit of right-sizing our hardware for our needs. We gain speed and agility in the process and can go global in minutes if needed. Very cool. I hope in this video you not only see the benefits of cloud computing, but also the differences with the traditional model of IT. In the next lesson, we will talk about some examples of cloud computing. I'll see you there.